guys, this is Jeremy, and welcome to Top 10 Cards. Brief intro about this channel. It's pretty self-explanatory. This is a top 10 channel showcasing your top 10 cards in your collection, and it's your personal top 10. It doesn't have to be the most expensive card. It could be a card that has a lot of sentimental value to you that you got when you were a kid. It's really wide open. It's not limited to a sport or a player. I think first off we're going to have a lot of top-heavy Michael Jordan content because I'm connected to a lot of those guys, but hope you enjoy this channel. Okay, we've got two Jordan collectors for episode 1. We have Judah Crombie from Oregon, and we have Michael Pacini from Ohio. And I will be showing my Kobe Bryant top 10 collection. And here we go. Start us off, guys. Episode 1.
What's up, everybody? This is my top 10 list of Jordan cards that I personally have on me right now. I got a few at Beckett getting graded. Otherwise, I'd be sharing those as well. But anyway, let's just get right into it. We have the 95-96 Finest Refractor Jordan. Really underrated. I actually think this is one of the nicer looking ones. The colors, I don't know. I think a lot of people prefer some of the other ones over this one, but I don't. I think this is one of my favorite designs. So 95-96 Finest Refractor. Number 9, we have the Jordan 97-98 SPX Hardcourt Hollow View. Very underrated. One of the most beautiful Jordan cards I've ever seen. In hand, it's amazing. When you put it in the right light, it really pops out. It's got that hologram with the laser beams in the background. I prefer this over the promotion personally, even though you could get it for a third of the price probably, maybe even less. Number 8, we have the Skybox Premium Players Michael Jordan. This card's really classy and elegant. It's a nice design. Got that 90s look to it, but not overboard like some of the other inserts. Very, very popular card right now. At number 7, we have the 97-98 Stadium Club Triumvirate. I believe that's how you pronounce it. This one is the Luminescent. There's 3 other versions of this. Well, actually 4. But this one I prefer over the other 3. I just like what it has going for it. It's got that really complex die cut to it. It's the centerpiece to Jordan and Pippen, I believe. And it's got that refraction look to it. The Illuminator does not. I actually prefer this over the Illuminator for that particular set. The other Triumvirate variation, the one with like the lightning and all that stuff, that's really cool too. But I actually like this one. Aesthetically speaking, this one to me looks the best out of all of them. All right. At number 6, we have the 97-98 Metal Net Rageous. Over the top 90s, just cheesy as hell, but I love it. I love what it's got going for it. I actually really think that that 90s kind of cheesy concept just gives it that that charm. It's etch foil, it's die cut, net rage is kind of like a candy bar. I don't know. Really like that one. Very popular card. At number 5, we have the 97-98 Ultra Court Masters Jordan. Again, very underrated. A lot of people don't really like this too much. I think it's amazing. It's got that, it's embossed. It's got that refracted look. It's got a nice golden pop to it. It's very busy, very 90s, but I love it. Again, I think it's very, very underrated right now. At number 4, this is probably one of my favorite personally. One of my favorite insert sets of all time is the 96-97 Thrill Seekers Fleer Michael Jordan. It's got that 3D pop to it. Very busy design. Lots of colors, but, you know, I love it. Again, I think 90s inserts are my favorite. I just prefer them over the new ones that Panini makes. Very valuable, very sought after, very popular. Love it. At number 3, this is probably one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic, Jordan inserts of all time. This is the 93-94 Ultra Scoring Kings. The first true premium insert set, I believe. And you got that etch foil, and you got that design, that lightning bolt in the background. I mean, this card is iconic as they come. And definitely, if you ever get one, hold on to it, keep it, because they'll continue to go up in value, without a doubt. Number 2 is right up there with number 3 as far as its iconic status goes. This one's the 93-94 Finest Refractor Jordan. I think this is the first refractor of Jordan that you can get. from the first real premium set, which is finest. So back then, this was like the creme de la creme. I mean, this was the top notch, and this is the GOAT. So I mean, this card right here, between this and Scoring Kings, probably the two most iconic insert and parallel, side by side. Two of my favorites of all time. And number one shouldn't come as any surprise. You got the 86, 87 Fleer rookie. These I bought raw. Sent them into Beckett. They came back an 8 and a 6.5. The 8 actually has 9.5 centering, which is pretty hard to find. Doesn't really need much explanation. This card is like the holy grail of basketball cards. I've probably had over 100 of them now total, and I really kick myself every day for not holding on to more of them, including a Gem Mint 9.5 that I sold for $7,000, and now they're going for like $25,000. So that's my top 10 that I currently have right now on me. I have a few that are getting graded right now, including a Hot Numbers and the Hot Shots. Those are also two of my favorites. And just to throw it out there, probably my number one overall dream card is, very cliche as it is the Precious Metal Gems Emerald Jordan. I mean, ever since Beckett first showed a picture of it, and it was first listed in Beckett at $10,000. So that was back in '97. And I was 14. So yeah, since I've been 14, that has been, I mean, on my list. If you look at my top 10 dream card list I've been chasing ever since I was a kid, that's number one. It's been number one since '97. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.
All right, that was Judah Crombie. He is quite the character. You can find him on Facebook, and he is a passionate Jordan collector, as you can tell. Next up, we have Michael Pacini from Ohio. He loves his PSA 9s. We have a disagreement on PSA versus BGS. You can tell by the logo. He's also known as Michael Late to the Party Pacini. You can ask him about that. But here we go.
All right, I'm very happy to be participating in Jeremy's, aka Mid Scratches, top 10 MJ countdown, regardless of value. It's been a long time coming. I've been putting it off. So hopefully this video does not get interrupted and we're able to complete the top 10. But you never know. All right, so we'd just like to say that Jeremy's a good guy in the hobby. He's got some major purchasing power and prefers BGS 8.5. So if you're ever looking to sell an 8.5, that's your guy. All right, let's get started. So the first one, I'll be slipping in courtesy of my wife. She happens to be from the suburbs of Chicago. And to ease her burden of my collecting, I decided to start her a little miniature Jordan collection. And this was the first card I bought because I knew she would appreciate the almighty Sears Tower in the background. So this will clock in at number 10 with an asterisk. All right, number 9 is 97 Skybox Premium Competitive Advantage. Like, by and large, in comparison to all the other mid to late 90s inserts, this one is very muted. There's no refractor finish, there's no embossing, there's no etched foil. It's a sort of simplistic, elegant card, and I love the Roman layout. But the name itself of the insert, Competitive Advantage, really symbolizes Jordan because no one had more of a competitive advantage. So in my opinion, this should be a one card insert, but alas, there are other players if you don't collect Jordan. All right, coming in at number 8 is the 96 Scoring Kings Plus. This card is, to me, probably the most complicated parallel based on the etched foil. It's really hard to tell, perhaps in this angle, but it's truly etched the entire card, except for Jordan, except for the photo. And this was a parallel that I guess if you're not fully educated, you may look over. And it was only 1 in 96, and I think there was a 30 card checklist, but it's just so hard to come by, and the pop report is very low in comparison to similar Jordans with similar odds. So it's also a nice evolution of the 93 Scoring Kings, which we might get to later. Great photo as well. All right, number 7. I happen to have twins because one was potentially lost in the mail, and I had to have another one. And then the lost one arrived. But it's the 1998-99 Upper Deck game jersey, Michael Jordan. And what's really cool about this is that even though the year before Upper Deck introduced the game jersey series, the 97 version featured a swatch from the 92 All-Star game. So 1 year later, when they dropped this was the first ever game jersey to feature Jordan in a Bulls uniform and feature a Bulls swatch. And to make it even cooler, it's dated from the 1992-1993 season, which was a championship season when they beat the Suns and completed their first three-peat. So in terms of historical importance, I feel like this Jordan card probably needs a little bit more attention based on those two factors. All right, number 6. This will probably be on a lot of people's top 10 list, but it's the 93 Scoring Kings. And to me, this just sort of symbolizes the ushering of the new era of inserts where technology was coming into play. This was a full foil card, and there was such a chase for this card. I mean, as a kid, I was 9 when this card came out, and it was unattainable as a 9-year-old. So, and now it's still unattainable for all 9-year-olds based on current prices. But to me, this just represents the new era. All right, next up is the 1996 Fleer Thrill Seekers, which has a nice 3D effect to it. This is my 3rd copy, as I've always been on the hunt for the nicest looking 9 as possible, which is what I PC. And this is just features such an awesome aesthetic, and it's got that technology which in the hobby is referred to as lenticular, which is a word I never heard before, but it's certainly a bygone technology because no one utilizes this technology anymore. All right, number 4. To me, this has been and will always be the most underrated Jordan insert. I don't know if there's like a formula you could actually put to this, but the aesthetic to bang for your buck is definitely off the charts. There's just, to me, this is more gorgeous than a lot of higher end cards, like, I don't know, Slam Bams, for example. And it's a nice touch that features him in his 45 jersey. So this is also the beginning of the Skybox E series. So after this, you had EXL, EX2000, EX2001, etc. So this really did a good job of kicking things off. All right, coming in number 3 is the 92 Fleer Tony's Pizza Jordan card. This card is awesome for many reasons. Immediately, you've got Jordan posterizing Patrick Ewing, but to me, the coolest thing about this card is that at one point, this card was in a frozen box of pizza at your local supermarket in a pack waiting to be pulled. And for this to be in such great condition and to have been in a commercial freezer is pretty sweet. Love this card. All right, this next card, I would say a portion of the proceeds that went to this card came courtesy of Joshua Keane, who I had to sell my 98 Topps Chrome Preview Refractor Jordan BGS 8.5 to help fund for this, which that 8.5 chrome refractor was in my top 3. So to let that go was very tough, but it allowed me to purchase the crown and jewel of my collection, which is the 97 Upper Deck Game jersey, Michael Jordan, PSA 8. This one looks like a solid 8, maybe even a little bit nicer. But I love this card because it's the first ever game jersey. It features Jordan in the 92 All-Star uniform, which that game was played in Orlando, where I'm from. I remember watching that game as a kid. And in 98, when I was visiting my grandma in a small Pennsylvania town, went to a card store and read about this card in Beckett for the first time. And it's just sort of been a carrot dangling in front of me my entire life. And 22 years later, to be an owner of this card is just the true joy of the hobby for me. There's another picture of him throwing it down in Orlando. All right, number 1. To me, this is not only is it my favorite card of all time, but I think it's the most beautiful card of all time. And this card right here, not this particular copy, but this card right here helped form a hobby friendship with Chris, aka House of Jordans, where I had a card that he truly wanted, and that was the 61 Classic, or Fleer Classic 61 Jordan, numbered at 61 PSA 9, which I had for a couple of years, and he had a BGS 9.5 Flair Hot Shots, which I really wanted. And it took us a lot of time and a lot of persistence from Chris, but we put together a deal, which most importantly formed a hobby friendship. So while this isn't the BGS 9.5, I was able to sell that, pick this up, and pocket some cash for some other Jordans. This card to me just is the apex of the hobby. I think 96, 97 was the greatest year of inserts, and this picture of Jordan and how the ball plays into the die cutting. It has a nice matte texture for where the basketball's at. It's got some gold foil stamping, and then the flame is a nice gloss, topped off with a very subtle embossing effect. To me, this is the best card ever. All right, that concludes the top 10. Hope you guys enjoyed.
All right, that was Michael Pacini. He is a friend of mine in the hobby with his Michael Jordan top 10. So I'm going to change things up and do my Kobe Bryant top 10. I collected Kobe ever since I was a kid. I watched basically every game of his, every interview, and he's kind of a touchy subject with me after his passing. But here's my top 10 of Kobe Bryant's. Coming in at number 10 is, I don't even know the name of this card. It's a rookie exclusives Kobe Bryant card. This was my very first Kobe Bryant card. This was the card that got me into Kobe Bryant. I pulled this as a kid, and I didn't even know who Kobe was at the time. I put it aside, and as he started to make a name for himself, I went back through my collection and found this card. And I kept it ungraded for about 20 years, and recently got it graded after his passing, and it came back a 9.5. So this card is, I don't collect 9.5s, but this was my first ever Kobe Bryant card, and it is completely priceless to me. So that is number 10, Kobe Rookie Exclusives. Coming in at number 9, I've got the Fresh Faces Kobe Bryant. I saw Panini has tried to make an insert with the jersey cut out in the background, but this was one of the first of its kind, and it's just a cool picture of Kobe from the perspective of the backboard. Just always loved the look of this card, and I didn't have a whole lot of money growing up, but this is one of the higher end cards that I could get as a kid. So also one that I'm happy to have encapsulated. That is number 9. Number 8. Number 8, we've got the EX2000. This card was, I think, like $200 at one point back in the day. And when Kobe kind of went through his ups and downs in his career, I went to a card shop where you would buy a card and you could pull a ticket out of a bucket. And it was baseball style, so you could get a single, double, triple, or home run. And based off of the hit you got a percentage off the card. So this card at the time was, I think raw came down in value around, like $50 or so. So it was like $50, which was still a lot for me as a kid. And I pulled a triple on this card, and the owner was upset with me. He was a good guy. He was jokingly upset that I got such a big discount on this card. And this is the same card I had as a kid, and I recently got it graded, and it is my patented 8.5. All right, this Kobe, the Topps Chrome. So much disrespect behind Kobe Bryant's name. You could get into a long argument as to why he is the second greatest player of all time with me, and I could back it up all day long, but a lot of people forgot about Kobe, and when I got back into the hobby, I had to have this card because I could never have it as a kid. It was too expensive. It was about $300-400, I think, when I was a kid, and it was just way beyond what I could do. So when I got back in the hobby, I was really surprised of how cheap it was, and I was glad that everyone was kind of disrespecting Kobe price-wise. That's all changing now, and I got this card for $300 when I first got back in the hobby. It's really nice. It's just got a subtle amount of greeting to it, but I'm very happy to have it. Number 6 is the Kobe Bryant Topps autograph. So this was one that I saw. Obviously, I had seen his throughout his time in the NBA. This was like one of his first licensed autographed cards. There's 2 versions of this. There's the gold version and the purple version. As far as the jersey he's wearing, the gold version was the one I was always attracted to, and I was kicking myself because I was at a card shop and a card show, excuse me, and this card was like $120, an unbelievably cheap amount for a really old Kobe autograph. This was before he passed. So this was at the show for $120, and I didn't do it. I figured I had all the time in the world to collect Kobe Bryant, and we all know what happened, and I had to kind of make a quick panic re-entrance into the Kobe Bryant market, and I picked this card up raw for around $700 or so, and it happened to gem, and I was so ecstatic with that. I'm really specific about Kobe Bryant's type of autograph. So you see, this is, in his older days, he had a different type of swoosh to his K, but this is kind of a transition mark of where he starts to get into that swoosh of his K that looks like an 8 in the loop. So I was really happy that this graded a 9.5. Never going to sell this one. Never going to sell any of them, but alright, my favorite Kobe Bryant insert is the Stardate EX2000. So this was a card that was just so cool as a kid. It's so condition sensitive, and recently this had a huge jump in price. I actually got this for around $500 about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And like the next sale price was like $2,000, $3,000 for a PSA 9. So I got this just in the nick of time. Unfortunately, the one I have as a kid graded a BGS 8. So I had to get my 8.5, and thank God I got it in time. All right, number 4. The most faked Kobe Bryant autographed card in existence is this one right here. This was my very first Kobe Bryant autograph ever. I never thought I'd get a chance to meet him, and I was fortunate enough to get his autograph in person on 2 separate occasions, but this was before all of that. When the product first came out, I got this for $79.99 on eBay, and I remember getting this in the mail, and this was I think this was my first on-card autograph that I've ever had, and I almost thought it could have been fake because it was just a kind of a new concept for me. Even though this was after kind of the Jordan autographs of 98, 99, because this is 2000, 2001, but this was my first one. And it's really aggravating to see all the fakes being sold on eBay. But this one is real. I had it in a very thick screw-down case for 20 years, and this past year I got it graded before his passing, and it graded a 9 with the Auto 10, so I'm super happy about that. Number 3. Kobe Bryant's first game used jersey card. I'll get it right eventually. Here we go. So here's a redemption story, is that I was at the 2019 National, the last National before COVID and everything happened, and a guy had the Jordan in a 9 and the Kobe in a 9.5. And again, this is when Kobe was a dime a dozen. His cards were not expensive, even his high-end cards. He was selling this one for $1,000 for a 9.5. And I got the Jordan. I did not get the Kobe because I had all the time in the world to collect Kobe. And I passed on that and regretted it. Never thought I'd get a chance. But after his passing, there was a lull period where the market kind of went down and his stuff was attainable again. And I private messaged the seller and was able to get this for the same price. And this card has skyrocketed 3x in value, 4x in value. But this was a must-have for me. There's a purple version, but the gold is my favorite kind. So, number 3. All right, number 2. This is a interesting card. So now I don't regret it, but I sold both my Luka Doncic's Silver Prism BGS 9.5 and Optic Hollow 9.5 to save up money to get this card. Now, do I regret doing that? I don't, but the values of both of those two could buy me 2 of these cards right now. But this is Kobe Bryant's true, widely considered to be his true rookie auto card. There's a couple other releases by Scoreboard and Press Pass, and the story behind this one is Kobe got paid $2 a card to sign. And I think the theory is that he signed his full name, and he was upset with the contract. So I think when he, signed to more licensed NBA cards, he changed his signature so it would not reflect the old Press Pass Scoreboard stuff. It sounds like something Kobe would do. But this card, well, it's priceless. It's super sentimental, and it's never going to leave my collection. All right, number 1. This whole Kobe Bryant Top 10 was a lot tougher than I thought it would be. It was really painful to leave out the Topps Gold, the Flair Showcase collections. I love all of his rookies specifically because that's what I collected as a kid. My favorite rookie of all time is the finest bronze, actually. This picture was just the coolest Kobe Bryant rookie out there, in my opinion. This is the refractor version. I have a 9.5 of the base with the coating. Um, but this is just funny how much people disrespected Kobe at one point in time in the hobby. I got this card for, I think, $220. It's at least worth $2,500, if not more now. So $2,000 profit. It's not a profit because I won't sell it. But this was the card that I sought after as a kid. I didn't seek after the refractor. I didn't care. I just loved this photo. And it was one of those rookies I couldn't get early on as a Kobe collector. Later on, I was able to get and this card was around, I think, $90. Not the refractor version, but the base was around $90 back in the day. Something I couldn't afford. So I always looked at it through the plexiglass at card shops and stuff like that. And one day, this was maybe 3 or 4 years into his career, longer than that. This was during his dark times, I think, where nobody wanted anything to do with Kobe. I got it for $30. So I was finally able to get a copy. It was very off-centered. But when I got back in the hobby, with this being my favorite, I saw the refractor and I just had to get it. And I'm glad I did, because this thing is very expensive now. And people are finally respecting Kobe Bryant. So that is my long-winded Kobe Bryant top 10 collection. It was painful to do. And this concludes episode 1 of Top 10. I hope to have many more submissions and look forward to doing future episodes and seeing what other people cherish and what their top 10 is. So have a good one, and we'll see you next time.